In a distant kingdom, shrouded in mystery and secrets, there was a young girl named Cinderella, who lived a life filled with quiet suffering and unseen hope. After her mother's sudden passing, her father remarried a woman whose polished beauty masked a cruel heart. With her came two daughters who seemed sweet in public, but behind closed doors were as twisted as their mother's ambitions. And when Cinderella's father died under strange circumstances, her life turned into a shadowed nightmare. Banished to a dusty, forgotten attic, Cinderella became a servant in her own home. Each day, she toiled under the piercing glares and mocking laughs of her stepmother and stepsisters. Yet, despite the dreariness around her, she remained hopeful, even if that hope flickered like a single candle in the night. One morning, an ominous announcement echoed through the kingdom. The king would host a grand ball in search of a bride for his son, the prince. Every eligible maiden was invited, and the kingdom buzzed with excitement. Cinderella watched her stepsisters scramble to gather the finest dresses, sneering at her each time they caught her looking on with longing. "You? Going to the ball?" her stepmother hissed. "You belong in the shadows, girl, not in the light." But Cinderella dared to ask, and, with a chilling smirk, her stepmother agreed, on one impossible condition. "If," she said with a wicked grin, "you complete all your chores and find something suitable to wear, you may go." Her stepmother piled on so many tasks that Cinderella was kept working late into the night. Yet she dared to hope. She pulled out an old dress of her mother's, a memory of happier times, and tried to fix it up. Just as she was finishing, her stepsisters discovered her in the dress and, with jealous rage, tore it apart, leaving her in despair. When the last light of hope seemed to be snuffed out, a strange, shimmering glow filled the room, and Cinderella gasped. Before her stood a figure cloaked in light, a mysterious woman with eyes that saw straight into her heart. With a wave of her wand, this fairy godmother transformed the room. A pumpkin by the door twisted and grew, turning into a grand, gilded carriage. The mice in the shadows transformed into sleek, graceful horses, and her tattered dress became a masterpiece of shimmering silk, adorned with delicate, glass-like slippers. But the fairy godmother leaned close and whispered a warning. "Be home before midnight. The magic is fleeting, and at the stroke of 12, it will all disappear." Arriving at the palace, Cinderella felt eyes upon her, as if the very walls were watching. She stepped into the grand ballroom, and all turned to stare, mesmerized by her. The prince, known for his guarded heart, was captivated and asked her to dance. But something in the air felt heavy, as if the palace held its breath, knowing a secret it would not yet reveal. As Cinderella and the prince danced, time slipped away. She was drawn to him, but each chime of the clock seemed louder than the last. When it struck 12, a terror gripped her heart. She fled, tearing down the stairs just as her glass slipper slipped from her foot and fell onto the stone steps. She barely glanced back before disappearing into the night, the last traces of magic vanishing as she slipped back into her attic. The next day, whispers spread across the kingdom. The prince was searching for the mysterious woman from the ball. He declared that he would marry only the girl whose foot fit the glass slipper left behind. The news sent a chill through her stepsisters, who prepared themselves with a disturbing eagerness, desperate to claim the prince. When the prince arrived at Cinderella's house, her stepmother locked her in the attic, her heart pounding as she heard footsteps and muffled voices below. Her stepsisters tried to fit the slipper, each wincing as they pushed and squeezed their feet. But then, just as hope seemed lost, the animals, her loyal companions, slipped the attic key into her hands. With trembling fingers, she unlocked the door and descended the stairs, her heart racing as she stood before the prince. The room fell silent as she slipped her foot into the glass slipper, and a murmur of awe rippled through the air. Her stepmother gasped, eyes wide with horror, as she realized that her long-held secret was crumbling. The prince took Cinderella's hand, and they left her haunted home behind. In time, they married, and Cinderella found herself living a life of light and laughter, free from the dark shadows of her past. And yet, every now and then, she would feel a chill. remembering her days in the attic and the eerie quiet of her old home. For though her story had a happy ending, it would forever be tinged with the memory of dark secrets, twisted fate, and the fleeting magic that had changed her life.